Okay, Evangeline, anything special you could say about Antoine? Is there anything you'd like to say, to describe him, or just to tell us a bit more about Antoine?
Well, I think the key thing that that would define him the best is like stubborn is probably not the term, but like the capacity to really go deep into one thing. You know, it's so when we met, you know, he was he had been, you know, selling and then selling, you know, from like crew all the way to captain, and then he said, okay, you know, I'm gonna went back to study because that's something that I dropped, you know, fairly early. And then, you know, some normal people would just go for a bachelor, and then Antoine went for like 6 years, you know, of all the way to a master. And here it's kind of the same thing, you know, it's kind of, yeah, you know, he could have done this on his own, but here it's doing it really, like being completely focused and finding the partners to kind of really make something, you know, meaningful. And it's kind of the, yeah, that would be what describes Antoine.
Well, I'm born in Normandy. I grew up in Vendée. I'm from a family of 4, meaning I've got 2 sisters and 1 brother. Starting with 1 grand sister, 1 brother, another sister. I'm the last one. And in the 70s, early 70s, they had to move, you know, for job. So they went south. So they went to Vendée. I discovered sailing in my early 20s. You know, I haven't spent time, you know, doing dinghies and stuff like that. I grew up on the ocean front, you know, in a small fishing port, and people are working. You know, this is their living. You know, they do fishing, and so it took me time to leave the beach and the woods to find out that yeah, sailing was cool, and so. Yeah, I started, yeah, I was 20, 21. But I started by something very big. I went straight to crossing the Atlantic, which was quite an experience. I just took my chance and I went on the dock. I knocked at one of these boat, and the guy just popped out and he said, what do you want? And I say, well, where are you going? And the guy said, well, I'm busy, but tomorrow we're going to the Caribbean. We are driving the boat, and I just asked him, are you looking for crew? So the guy looked at me and I said, hold on. And he went back to the boat. Another guy came out and said, are you looking for, you know, to as a passage or something like that, you know? And I said, well, why not? So we had a coffee and the next day I was on board. It's all started that day when I say, well, I'm going to the Caribbean, I want to do that crossing, let's celebrate. And the next day I was off, you know, first time on a big seas and everything, and now 25 years later I still get the same vibes, you know, by setting up this event, you know, preparing this Golden Globe race, you know, it's the kind of same vibes, you know. I'm looking forward to celebrate that, you know, just before to leave. When I decided to join the Golden Globe race, first I had to sell my boat. It was too big for the race. And then I started to look around, and I was driving in France, I was driving all over the places, and I ended up in Falmouth. And I found a Biscay 36 in Falmouth boat construction. You know, it was the first hull, the number 1, you know, built in 1975. So it was quite an excitement for the yard to join in the project. So they were all, I mean, it was unbelievable. The service, the commitment and the willingness that these guys were just absolutely incredible. Wow! So we launched the boat today at Falmouth Boat Construction, and it is actually the first time. That's why I'm quite excited. The first time I come on board today. So it's just unbelievable to see 1 year of thinking, dreaming, and now it's floating. The boat is in the water, and wow! It's just impressive. It's just awesome. It's difficult to find the right words to express, how I feel today. It's big. It's really big. She looks beautiful, and it's funny to look at the people when they work on the dock. They just turn the head like that. So it's a good sign. I don't know what to say. It's just well, that's good. That's good. It's just feel safe, Yeah, there's still a lot of work, but in terms of strengthening the boat, in terms of all the plumbing, electricity, all the big jobs, the major jobs are done. So now we can go into the details of I'm going to live inside this small cabin for 8 months. But I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with what they've done, and yeah, that's great. I was wondering, do I keep that window? But today is a beautiful day, so I can see there's plenty of light coming in. And on the bad days, when it's overcast, cloudy, that's good. If you have light, you have hope.